Well, hello again. You're watching Brian Northmore Photography. It's my mission to inspire the photographic community by passing on my knowledge, passion and skills. I'm a photographic judge, lecturer, educator and workshop leader based in the United Kingdom. You can subscribe anytime. Hit the button or watermark and don't forget the bell icon for those important updates. And please don't forget to comment. But most of all, enjoy the video. So what does a photographer need? Or more specifically, what does a landscape photographer need to carry with them to take successful landscape photographs? And I always said that I wasn't going to do equipment vlogs, so I'm sat here now thinking, here we go, surely not another equipment vlog. And because I think you guys deserve a bit more than just an outpouring of me laying my camera equipment naked in front of you, telling you how fantastic it is, what I use, and asking you to follow the affiliate links so I can make some money out of it. My channel's not about that. It's about inspiring photographers. It's about getting people to go out in the outdoors. It's about getting away from everyday trials and tribulations and enjoying our craft, art, hobby, profession, whatever it is to you. It's about that. But you guys ask a lot of questions, and regardless of what you're doing as a creator on YouTube, we kind of have a responsibility to answer those questions. And you've asked, what equipment do you use? Maybe not on the channel, but you ask me when I do my lectures and talks and when I speak to people in person, what equipment do you use? What do you carry? What do you take with you? What lenses do you use? What cameras do you use? So I've decided that actually the time is probably right now to do an equipment vlog. And I thought the best way of doing it was to actually come out somewhere, make a cup of coffee, put the tent up, and try and do a bit of photography. But first of all, show you guys exactly what it is I'm using to do that photography with. But now I'm going to shatter your illusion, because this is lockdown. This is COVID-19. So I'm not out in the great outdoors. Well, I am in the great outdoors, but it's limited within the boundaries of my garden. So first of all, welcome to my home. You'll see that I've already made a coffee. So hit the pause button, make yourself a drink, sit down, and I'm going to get some equipment out. I'm going to explain to you what I use, why I use it, and hopefully you'll get a bit of an insight into what I carry with me then, and when and why. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Outside my camera bag I carry my tripod. We'll get to the camera bag in a minute. It's not a new tripod by any means. If you get a good one, they'll last you for a very long time. And I don't generally recommend kit or anything on my channel. I'm not sponsored by anybody at all to do any of this, so everything you see here I've bought, tried and tested with my own money. But I would recommend Manfrotto. This tripod I've had for a good number of years now. It's had digital cameras on it. I think it might have had some of my old film cameras on it as well, and I am really pleased with it. It's a little bit old and battered and bruised now, but it still functions perfectly well, and that's what's really important. As long as it keeps working, I'll keep using it. It's not the lightest, it's not the heaviest, but it is very sturdy, and it's proven to stand up and take a bit of a battering. So it's a bit of a trusted friend, and I'll keep using it. Camera bags. Camera bags are a difficult thing, aren't they? You can spend a long time trying out different ones and trying to work out what it is that you like. And I've certainly done that. This isn't the only one I've got. I've got a few others in the office, and but this is the one that I use when I'm doing most of my landscape photography. and a lot of my landscape photography is done on, you know, 3 or 4 hour hikes, and sometimes now an overnight hike as well. So I need something I can get a lot of equipment in, not only for the photography but for the whole day. So this one's really good in that it comes with this camera case, which will fit inside it. It'll go in through the side, or it'll go in through the top, or whatever, and you can take it out. And also, once you've taken it out, if I take it around to the back, you've got this set of straps on it, which can go over your shoulders, so you can set up camp somewhere. I did this last year in the Lake District. I'll put a link up to that story. You can do this in the Lake. Sorry, do it in the Lake District. You can do this anywhere you want. You can put up your tent, put your gear up, put your bag and your main pack inside, strap this on your back, and go off for another short hike with just the camera equipment and your tripod, and do some photography, hike back, and have your cup of coffee. So it works really, really well. It's the Naneu Outlander 50 litre. I haven't got a link to this. I find it quite difficult to actually track this company down now. I had this imported from the United States, and yeah, it's not one of the most well known in Europe. There's a lot of other brands and doing similar things out there now, but at the time when I bought this, and I've had it for a few years, it was really the only affordable option for me on the market. So what do I carry inside here? We're going to get to looking at accessories and everything in a minute, so we'll go through the camera itself first. Now, I'm recording the sound on a H1N sound recorder, and the filming's being done on a Canon 7D Mark I. The reason I use that combination is because digital SLRs, I generally find that the sound quality hasn't been that great. I was going to put a microphone on the top, but to be honest, the sound quality is really important to me, and I wanted something which I could use for doing voiceovers, to use in the office, for just taking sound recordings, and use a bit more adaptively. So cost-wise, and in keeping down the amount of kit that I carry, the H1N was the best option to go for. The 7D is a good camera. It really turned me from Nikon to Canon at the time. It is without any doubt the best camera that I've owned, and that's why I stuck with the Canon system. It's not the best vlogging camera. It hasn't got a flippy screen. It hasn't got the best video. It hasn't got the best sensor because it's a bit dated now, but it's doing a good job until I can afford to get a better vlogging camera. And because I got on so well with the 7D, when I decided to upgrade to full frame, there really was only one option for me. It was to stick with Canon and to go with the very trusty, well known and loved by many photographers, Canon 5D Mark IV. And this also is a truly fantastic camera. It fits well in the hand, it feels nice, it's quite rugged. It's a professional spec camera. It would be nice if it had a flip screen on it, if I could actually sort of sometimes look at what I'm doing, because the old knees now don't want to stay bent down so long as they used to. But it is still a fantastic camera, and I've got no intentions of upgrading it or changing it for anything else. It's a real workhorse. It does everything I need it to do. It's good for aviation, it's good for the nature, it's good for landscapes. It's nice and solid. I don't consider it to be over heavy. To be honest, if I went for one of the new mirrorless cameras, they are lighter, but some of the glass is very heavy, and I'm not totally convinced yet that it's an upgrade that I need to make. I think I could save a few kilos of weight, going for a carbon fibre tripod, for example. Taking a bit of weight off the old tummy would be a damn sight cheaper than going for a mirrorless camera, so I'm going to be sticking with this for quite a long time. Mounted on it at the moment is my general purpose go-to lens. Once again it's the Canon L series. It's a 24-105 image stabilizer ultrasonic lens, absolutely fantastic. Its only drawback is it starts at f4. Would I like f2.8? I'm not a portrait photographer, I'm not a sports photographer as such, so do I need that extra light? Do I need that shallow depth of field? No, not most of the time, but you know what? Creatively, sometimes I would just like to go to f2.8, but to do that you've really got to go down to, if you're sticking with Canon, you've got to go down to the 24-70. and having the 105 sometimes just means that I've got a little bit of extra reach, and I can not have to swap and change lenses so much, which when you're working out in the field can be a real bonus. So once again, it's my go-to lens, absolutely fantastic, love using it, and stays on the camera most of the time. Now a lot of photographers would then go for a wide angle lens for their next lens in their kit. I'm completely the opposite. I'm not a massive fan of really wide angle landscape pictures. I have shot them in the past, but I tend to find that I use wide angle lenses very limited amount. I tend to go the other way and use the telephotos. So somewhere here, in here in fact, we've got the 75 to 300 L series lens again. So once again, a Canon lens, absolutely brilliant. And if you want to see some pictures when I've been using this lens, I'll put some links up at the end, and also when I did the Bluebell work last week, maybe the week before as well. If you saw that, then you'll see this lens in action. But it's really good. Not only is it good for, like you say, the telephoto work, sports photography, getting in close to the action. It's also got this macro feature on it, which enabled me to do those Bluebell photos the other week. So it's good at getting in close as well, and focusing nice and close. But where this lens really comes into its own with landscape photography is it allows you to stand back, zoom in, compress that perspective, and get some nice landscape photographs that you wouldn't normally get with a slightly wider angle. I like compressing that perspective. I like having a good foreground, but I don't like diminishing the importance of the background always. Sometimes I want the mountains to be large, and I want the foreground to stand out as well. I don't want them to be really small mountains. I don't want the mountains to be really small in the background. I want them to stand out and really look the part and command the scene like they should do. So that's why I use this. I also use this because it allows me to zoom in, and if I want to take a wider angle view and have that compressed perspective, I can do a pan and I can stitch those images together. So there's a lot you can do with a telephoto lens if you're a landscape photographer. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the accessories. Quick sip of coffee, and then we'll pick these up. Okay, yeah, so accessories. Carry the accessories predominantly in two cases, and they come into two categories. The first thing we're going to talk about is filters. Now, a lot of outdoor photographers, landscape photographers, whatever different kind of photographers, do not use filter systems. They reckon that you can do everything you possibly can want to do now inside of Photoshop with graduated filters, neutral densities, and different effects in the camera. In post-processing. You can, don't get me wrong, you can to do that, and there's no wrong and there's no right here. Personally, for me, maybe it's because I've been doing this for over 30 years and started with film cameras, I'm more comfortable using filters. I actually use a combination of both, but I feel that if you can get it right in the field, and you can get it right in one frame, you've got less editing to do, less manipulation to do, and I think that's better overall for the quality of your images. So I actually like to have and use the Lee filter system. There's a lot more filter systems on the market now from when I started, but Lee was the big one that was out at the time, and it's the one that I tend to stick with. So inside this case, I don't carry many filters at all. I'd like to get some more, but they are expensive, and like I said, I like to get it right in camera, but I also use a mixture of things in Photoshop as well. So generally I find what I've got here, I can get what I want out of it. So I carry a Lee polarizer filter. Now I use the square one that goes on the front of the filter holder. I've got two filter holders, one that fits inside the other one, and that means that I can actually rotate that one inside and do the same thing. There are other systems which have very similar systems to this. This is getting a bit old now. Wide angle lenses, you'd have a problem. You'd get some vignetting with it, but maybe an upgrade on the cards at some point. So that's the first one that I use. The polarizing filter, it's rare, you know, that I use it to actually get those deep blue skies that it's famous for. I normally use it to control reflections on things like foliage and water and cut down highlights. That's what I tend to use it for. The other filter I've got in here, I've got a little stopper. Not a big stopper, no. Why? Simple. 6 stops of light. I've also got a 0.9, which is a 3-stop ND. Add them together, I've got 9 stops. It's almost 10. It's rare that I want things to go much slower than that. So I find that the little stopper is fine. Will I get a big stopper one day? Possibly. Is it on my top of my list? No, not really, because I can also, you know, there's a lot of other filters I'd like to get first. And the filters I'd like to get first really would be to add to my range of neutral density. I've got a 0.3, a 0.6 and a 0.75 ND. Most of these are hard ones, the 0.3s are soft. I would actually like to replace all of those with medium grads right the way through the range, and that would give me a full set of filters. Maybe that's something I'll look at in the future. Okay, so I said my accessories came into 2 kits. That's sort of like optical accessories, which is my my filter kits. The other thing I've got, I carry everything else that I need in this small pouch, which is quite good because it'll fit inside a pocket, and I can take it with me to the camera. Like I said, I'm quite old school. A lot of photographers use the 2-second timer, 10-second timer or whatever. I still like to use a cable release. I really like to plug this in and use it to take my images. I also use it, it's got a timer on it, and I can watch it count down, and I can do that quite comfortably then. In fact, I use this little stool sometimes if I'm doing long exposures. I'll take the stool out, I'll sit down, and it's a really relaxing way to do your photography. Like I said, old school, but it's just what I'm used to working, and it's part of my process of slowing down and doing landscape photography correctly. So I use that. I carry a lot of batteries, mainly because my batteries, which are getting a bit old, so I've got a number of batteries. It's something I'm not too good at is power management, to be honest. So what I really need to do is start numbering these up and logging which ones I'm using, which ones are the better ones and which ones aren't. Sorry, excuse me, must need more coffee. But yeah, so I'll take probably 3 spare batteries, obviously 1 in each of the cameras, all fully charged up when I leave. But doing video as well now, I'm finding I'm getting through these really, really quickly. And I'm not going to go into it today, but I do carry a solar panel, solar charger with me, which I predominantly use for charging up my phones if I'm out for a long time. But I think I'm going to have to get some kind of adapter so I can charge these in the field as well if I do some longer trips. So I carry plenty of batteries. I carry a very basic, simple lens cloth, and I carry a small lens and brush, and it's got a little remover on the end to take any smudges or dirt off. That's all I find that I need. That's quite fine. I should probably get a blower brush really or something, but to be honest, yeah, it doesn't bother me. Lens cloth and a brush. Obviously, spare batteries for recording, for the sound recorder, and for the timer remote as well. I carry my cards in a very simple, basic little safe like this. There's different ones on the market. This one, the reason I like it is because it allows me to carry 4 CF cards, and underneath here it allows me to carry 4 SD cards. So because the Canon 5D Mark IV is a dual slot, it means that I can actually also carry in here both types of cards that it takes. And I like the security of recording to 2 cards. I have had cards fail, and it's really nice to have that backup. So guys, that is probably just about all the gear that I've got here to go through, and I hope that you found this useful. Leading directly on from this, I'm going doing a bit more photography out and around here. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. be a shame to waste it, wouldn't it? See you in the morning.
So I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, help me out and subscribe. Don't forget the bell icon. Give a thumbs up or down, and please comment below. Most of all, enjoy your photography, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.